talk in the microwave. In the microwave.
I am not going to talk in the microwave, I don't think.
You shouldn't talk into the microwave.
No, that might be dangerous.
Yeah. So, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It's been a strange New Year around the country and around the world so far.
Why?
Between the fire and international events, and
Yeah, it's awful.
it's depressing. It's very depressing.
Oh,
So, New Year's.
what'd you do?
It's the beginning of the year. I did not, once again, have a date. Now, I suppose I could have had a date with my husband, Gil. I guess I wouldn't be having a date with anybody else.
I was going to say, or anyone else. Who knows?
Okay. So, in the 70s, I was in my teens and 20s. And especially as you got into your 20s, New Year's Eve was like a little more formal, I think, at that time. People would throw these New Year's Eve parties, which they probably do now.
Yeah, I think people, it's like common, but it's less like, sorry, I did just get distracted mid-sentence because I'm just reading a box that says Craig over and over again on it. It looks like it's from the 1970s.
It's my new cassette player from the 1970s.
New cassette player?
So that I can find some old voices on my new cassette player.
What?
How does anybody follow us? I can't even follow us.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think they do.
So we're back to talking about New Year's Eve.
Yep.
All right. So I would always lament at New Year's Eve, as proven by some diary entries I have here, that I never had a date.
Yep.
I always wanted a date. And so I have recently been working on going through my diaries in anticipation of writing a memoir. And I've been reading 1980.
Oh.
And I was 27.
Okay.
And I met this guy. I met him in, let me think about this. I met him in the spring of 1980.
You got lipstick on your teeth.
And I got set up by my friend with this guy. And it was like love at first sight sort of thing.
Oh.
And
for both of you or just you?
Well, more for him, really.
Wow.
He asked me to go out with him the very next night after I met him.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't. I have a blind date. And he said, cancel it. I said, you've been waiting for me all your life. You can wait 2 more weeks.
That's iconic.
That was iconic.
That's great.
But anyway, so it's one of those really intense things. Like,
yeah,
all of a sudden, he thinks I'm the one. I think he's the one. Blah, 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 blah.
Whirlwind,
and then it fizzes out. So
sad.
And it's very sad. It took me forever to get over it, but I'm over it.
Sounds like it.
But reading it, I feel like I've been in it the last couple of days.
You miss him? Do you? Be honest.
No.
I think she does.
But he did reach out to a friend of mine years later to kind of apologize for breaking my heart. Like, he passed it on to a friend of mine who passed it on to me.
So he's been, honestly, that's kind of a win for you.
Yeah.
Because it's something he's thought about.
Yeah.
And you just got over eventually.
Yeah.
Or not. And she might be missing him now again.
I don't know. I'm not missing him.
Yeah, have you looked him up recently? I bet you have. You're a little sleuth.
I have so much fun sleuthing.
I know. Newspapers.com sponsor us.
Oh my gosh.
But did you find him? What does he look like now? Hot? Still hot?
I didn't find any pictures of him.
Oh, well, then I don't care.
But I've found pictures of other former crushes.
Any of them hold up? Or
I think 1 or 2 probably.
yeah. Hey, I got to meet a couple of my mom's students, former students, from how long ago?
Uh, they're in their 50s, and I taught them when they were 13.
Wild. But anyways, they were going on and on about how my mom looks exactly the same. Do you think young you would see a picture of you now and be like, what the hell?
I had a picture with me of what I looked like back when I was with them.
Oh, by the way, you forgot that pic. I have that.
Okay. And I think it's pretty cool, but it's in my dreams that was 45 years ago or more.
Oh my God.
I think the better thing is me sitting there teaching those kids, thinking someday they're going to want to hang out with me when they're in their 50s and I'm in my 70s.
Something I learned that she didn't remember was she brought her students to her home quite often. Quite often. It wasn't a one-time thing.
Apparently, I don't remember that.
Cooking them. Also, they said that she cooked them dinner. And if there's one thing about Clod, it's that she cannot cook.
I can't imagine.
I'm like, she cooked them dinner, but then what is she feeding me? A Hot Pocket?
I have no recollection of cooking them dinner. And I would have said, I knew I had them come over to my apartment once.
Wait, what? It made me laugh how you said that you couldn't bring them. You couldn't drive them.
I told them I couldn't ride in my car.
But you guys can come to my house.
I know. That was crazy.
Yeah, different world, though.
It was a different world, and well, yikes. I would never, obviously,
This is a weird
have
pose.
done anything like that in that was rookie. That was first year, second year teaching mistake.
Yeah, but I feel like that was more common, probably.
Well, I don't know.
Okay. I was trying to give you the Benny of the D.
Well,
but...
I give myself the Benny of the D. To quote a wise woman, is there any, there's nothing bad on saying that, is there?
I actually just came out of my mouth.
Right.
I've never heard it before in my life.
I thought it was something from TikTok that was
No,
inappropriate.
R.I.P. By the way, I'm actually in denial, but we do need. We've got 4 days left, so.
Yep, this could be it.
Or 3 days, 3 full days, 3.5 days.
We better get on it. We have some backlog material.
We're just gonna pump it out this weekend.
We are? Okay.
Or this week. What day is
All right.
it?
Let's get back to New Year's.
Why am I laughing?
So, the reason I was going on and on about my broken heart from 1980 as opposed to my broken heart from 1979 and the one from 1978.
Yeah.
Broken Hearts Anonymous.
What are you saying?
I could have been the leader of Broken
Have you not
Hearts.
talked to anyone today until I got here? Is this the first time you're speaking?
You know I'm sleepy. Okay. So one thing that when I went on a date with this guy,
Yeah.
within a day or two of meeting him, well, I waited for whatever. Just clarify it, Lynn.
Get to the point, lady.
I said to him at some point, I've never had a date on New Year's. This was like in.
This is how I imagine
this
you
is
saying
like
it.
in April.
I've never had a date on New Year's.
And he said, "This year I'll take you out."
Ooh.
He wore this
Ooh.
long beige coat.
I was literally just going to ask, what was he wearing?
And I think I put more in my diary about
Wool?
what he was wearing, like a wool
Yeah.
beige
Cool.
wool
Hot.
coat. And we were at a bar called F. Parker Reedy's down in the Oldport area.
Yeah.
And it was crowded and it was wonderful.
Sounds like a movie.
Yeah, until it ended tragically.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Do you think he saw the future and said, I'm not sure this lady gets a mushroom cut?
He saw the future when I misbehaved at Annie and Ozzy's house and made a fool of myself in front of him. Totally made a fool of myself.
Okay, well, do you want to
Shall I
go
tell?
into it? Yeah, I'd love to hear.
It would be better if Lorna was here, my sister.
She
But
will be here Saturday.
so it's 1980. I'm 27. See, that's where I get a little ashamed telling these stories because I was so old in them. And
It really like heals me.
it does.
Yeah, because I was so much better than you.
You were more mature than I was. So we spent the day like out on some boat. I don't think it was like just the two of us on a little boat. It must have been a bigger boat. We were out by Cousin's Island, which is in
Oh wow,
Yarmouth,
yeah.
and it was your aunt's birthday. So it's May.
Aren't
Your aunt's birthday, and we got to my parents' house later than we were supposed to,
okay.
back before cell phones, etc. And so my mother was a little tense.
Your mother was a little tent.
But I didn't know that. Anyway, we go. Lorna's.
What was her problem?
Her problem was that there were more people at dinner than she expected.
Sounds like a horrible problem.
I think there had probably been some wine drinking.
Yeah.
People were a little tense.
I've seen this side of Annie, so I'm not.
People were a little tense.
There's a lot of personalities in this family.
My sister was dating a guy that was also there. He was a new guy, and the guy I was dating was new. And anyway, get to the point. I sat down, and Mom had bought some new dressing.
For salads?
Salad.
Are you okay?
Salad dressing.
You just sounded like a robot that was like low battery.
Mom had bought some salad dressing, and I didn't know if I was going to like it. It was bacon salad dressing. So I took a big whiff of it, and my mother snapped at me and said, basically, that is so disgusting.
That you smelled the dressing. Oh my God.
That I stood up, burst out crying, I do believe, went in the bathroom, couldn't lock the door for some reason.
I imagine you like trying, but
my sister comes in and she goes, look, Mom's just tense. She didn't know there were going to be all these people here for dinner.
Oh.
Come back to the table and make a joke and carry on. I'm sure she was thinking.
Oh. I mean, that's
get
good.
going.
That's solid advice.
It was solid advice. But, of course, here's this guy who thinks I'm perfect after a week and a half.
Okay, yeah.
Like, he'd already started love bombing me.
Yeah, he's actually
Flowers.
kind of a walking red flag.
Wrote me a song.
What? No. Coming from experience?
Played it on his guitar.
Coming from experience? That's a red flag.
He was a really nice guy, though.
Sometimes they're the dangerous ones.
He was a really nice guy. And in retrospect, I acted like an idiot.
Yeah. In retrospect, I acted like an idiot should be the title of your memoir. Because I think that pretty much sums up every entry you've ever read me.
So, anyway, when we went to leave, there were some other things that happened too. My brother called to wish my sister a happy birthday, but he called collect. Do you know what that even means?
So Annie and Ozzy had to pay for it?
Well, so I answered the phone and the operator goes, so-and-so calling collect for so-and-so. Do you accept the charges? And I'm just being funny, so I say no. But I was going to say yes really fast, but the operator disconnected me.
Wait, that's so funny. That is funny. Oh my God.
I go back to the table. My mother is mad, and my father is too. She's like, your brother was just calling to talk because he wanted to talk to your sister.
She's like, first of all, you smelt the bacon dressing. Second of all, you made a joke.
Anyway, it was just very unpleasant. And I'd had such a pleasant romantic day with my new love. And we get in the car and like, we don't even talk. It's kind of silent.
Yeah.
And
he saw the real you.
He hung on for another few weeks.
Oh. He ruminated.
And then he ruminated. And then he basically said to me, I, I don't think this is going to work out. And I just cried for weeks.
Did you blame Annie?
No,
Because I kind of am.
no, she was crabby that day, but I take responsibility
Well,
for my behavior.
It's totally like, there's nothing like being around your family that amplifies every emotion. And if you're all having that heightened emotion, this is, again, coming from experience.
Yeah.
It gets out of, like, when you're all very opinionated and like strong-willed and emotional, which unfortunately and fortunately is every woman in this family.
Right. And plus, my dad would get anxious because my mom would get anxious.
Yeah,
He wanted her to be.
Yeah.
And so then he'd be snapping at me, and it was new boyfriend. We both had.
I'm still traumatized from the other diary entry you just read me about you getting into a different argument with your parents.
Oh yeah.
Which we don't have to talk about.
We're not going to talk about that now.
No,
but it is kind of interesting as I'm rereading my diaries to read the details of certain incidents that I'd forgotten about, and to kind of be more insightful about what was happening. It's funny
because she read out loud a diary entry to me that, like, this was, if you're not watching on YouTube, my mouth was just agape. Like, I was like, and every time, like, it just got worse and worse and worse. And then she's like, wow, I hadn't really read this out loud to anyone before, and I didn't realize how crazy this is. And it is, like, funny because if I heard that story from one of my friends, I'd be like, do you need help? Like, are you seeing a therapist? I know, which is so funny. And it's a crazy experience as someone, like, to have your parent read trauma that they experienced to you, and not even fully grasping that I
didn't know it was traumatic.
Yeah, but I was, like, traumatized for her.
Right.
As she was reading it to me. It's a very fascinating, I'm sure a psychologist would love to.
Well, yeah, and the fact that in that particular story, and essentially what happened in the story was my mother accidentally burned my hand by pouring boiling water on it. But it was an accident, and things just escalated from there, and I ended up immediately going to my electric typewriter, sticking one hand in a bowl of cold water and typing what was happening.
And she wrote that. She
contemporaneously, like as it's happening, almost like I was filming it. But
it's like makes me want to film it as a scene, but
right.
It's too sad because she's saying it in a very light-hearted way, but it was like kind of scary.
Yeah,
it was weird. I just find it fascinating to. A lot of people don't get to experience their parents' experience. And I do. I think I said this to you not on the podcast, but I think it would have been so, because we had a rough time for quite a few years when I was young.
Right.
And I think it would have been so healing for me to have heard these stories from you while I was feeling so similarly. And dealing with similar things in a different way, but it just fascinates me.
Poured boiling water.
Well, no, thank God.
I shouldn't be laughing about that.
No. Well, I mean, it wasn't on purpose, but anyways, I just think it's fascinating. I'm intrigued by it all. It's been healing me, and I feel like re-traumatizing you.
Well, it's really led me to think about trauma a lot more. Like, I never realized the role of trauma in my life as deeply as I now realize it in rereading my diaries, because my diaries are so detailed. And
I think there has to be some sort of study on you and how you, in the moment, wrote what was going on. Like, could you imagine your parents are screaming at you and your sister's yelling at you, or like they're fighting in the other room, and you just have the diary or the typewriter out, and you're just like moment by moment describing what's happening. You're like crazy. A live reporter
on my own life.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's just so funny to like think about. It's like I like want to do that now when I have arguments. Just like whip out my phone and just start typing. I mean, I guess now we can record it.
I just wanted to. I always felt like I had to write it down as soon as possible so I didn't forget it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get the details correct. And I needed to get them out on paper.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like healthy in a certain
Healthy
way.
in a certain way, but I think it contributed to some of my long, ongoing emotional problems in a way because I've thought about it. Like it was always had to be a story. I had to narrate the story. I directed the story sometimes.
Yeah, it's like all from your perspective.
Yeah.
So who knows how like certain things actually were going because you were like a heightened emotional.
Exactly.
You're an extremely emotional person.
Heightened and extremely emotional person. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
So not so much now.
No, you've actually like gotten a lot colder and cold-hearted in your old age.
No, I think what they would call was histrionic. Dramatic.
What's that mean?
Dramatic.
Yeah, you were just but you like liked it.
Yeah.
You liked the drama. Cuz then you had something interesting to write about.
Yeah, or tell.
Yeah. So interesting. I'm fascinated.
Me too. So, you want to hear some New Year's Eve entries?
Yeah, I do.
This is January 1, 1980. This is before I met the lover boy that I was talking about earlier.
Okay.
Can you believe it? It was another New Year's Eve without a date. No one to kiss at midnight. I was at Nancy's for a party, only about 10 people. It was all right. Today I'm suddenly depressed, period. I think being alone is bad for me.
This is a girl who needed to spend time alone more than anyone.
I love to be alone.
Yeah, but like you centered men so heavily in your life. I think you could have used
to our first therapy session.
I think you could have used some alone time.
I had a lot of alone time.
No, I know, but like without men constantly on your mind. You had alone time, but you
never had alone time without
a man.
Without thinking about.
Yeah, without trying to chase a man, date a man, kiss a man.
You're making me sound.
You're making yourself sound that way, lady. Have you read your diaries? I just think it's fun. I think it's funny.
Oh, God. January 1, 1972.
Okay, how old? How old were you?
19.
Okay.
Well, I was still 18, but I was going to be 19. You know something? I am mean. I am crazy. Boy, am I ever optimistic towards the new year. Why can't I get him off my mind? And then a couple years later, January 1st, hello, it's me. I wish I was beautiful. I could be if I was skinny. Yeah, never my love. Mom told me to clean the bathroom. How utterly degrading, Mother. I don't wish to clean the bathroom. You have to. Okay. I bleached my roots today, just the way I hide my anguish. Fake.
You are a piece of work. Oh my God. Wait, you had to clean the bathroom on New Year's?
Yeah, I don't
New
know.
Year's Eve?
I was just mad. Annie was all of a sudden poking her head in wherever I was writing. Probably in the living room on the computer. January 1, 1978.
The computer?
I
you
mean
living
typewriter.
in the future?
January 1, 1978. Got up this morning at 11 and cleaned the kitchen for my mom, which took over an hour because they had a party here last night.
She made you clean it from her? Was it her? Was it their
I didn't
part?
say she made me.
Oh.
Currently, I am braless, which is unusual for me. I think I'm moving to Augusta tomorrow.
Wait, What a segue.
The only thing I'm not looking forward to in Augusta is the fact that I'm so much chubbier than I was last year.
Oh my God. I want to shake this girl and say, get over
Chubbier. I love that word, actually.
chubbier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chubby just puts kind of a positive spin.
I'll keep that on my baby name list.
Chubby Checkers. Wasn't that his name?
Who?
Chubby Checkers.
Who? Who's Chubby Checkers? What are you talking about? I thought you were saying I was going to name my kid Chubby Checkers. And I will.
Chubby Checkers is a famous singer.
Chubby Chase.
Chubby Checkers. He introduced the twist.
Mom, how old am I?
Okay. However, once I start working, I'll start shrinking. Or at least I hope so.
Why? Why do you think that?
Well, for sure, because
You're walking a lot?
I worked in the State House and you had to go up and down those stairs all the time.
Yeah.
And then I feel like writing poetry, but I haven't gotten any great inspiring ideas.
Uh-oh. Time to find a man.
Yep. I haven't heard from Bob in ages, and that surprises me.
My dad?
Yep.
Oh.
I was surprised.
Doesn't surprise me.
No. And then one more. Since this is my mother's diaries. This is from 1981. So it was another dateless New Year's Eve with no one to kiss at midnight except my friend. But I wasn't depressed.
Did you kiss her?
I guess so.
Mom,
You know, like...
was that your first kiss with a girl?
No, stop it. We had a moderately good time at the party. I didn't feel that I looked so great, which bugged me.
What were you wearing? Did you write it?
No.
Mm.
I got home at 1:30 a.m. and Mom and Dad's party was going full swing.
What do you mean by full swing?
They were still partying.
They weren't swinging?
Mom's party was a great success. Because of her, I might add. She is a great host.
Ugh, suck up. You're a suck up. You're a suck up even in your own diary.
I think I need to end with this one line because this has been kind of a sad segment we've been doing here.
What?
I think I'm happier now than I've been in a long time.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
What year was that?
1981.
Well, it goes downhill.
Yeah.
Sorry to say, lady. That's not going to last forever. Oh, that is a nice... Sorry, I didn't mean to... We were ending on a nice note until I spoke.
Yeah, that's usually the case.
Yeah, I think so. Wow. Trying to think of my New Year's.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. How have you had any wild New Year's
Well,
Eve?
I did have a pretty wild New Year's Eve when I lived in Boston in my early 20s, in which my best friend came to visit. And at a certain point, we were in the subway, Government Center station, which I'm not sure is there or is like under construction for like many years. But when it was there, it had this giant escalator. And we had to ride it up. And my tiny little best friend apparently drank too much and started puking all over the escalator as we were going up it. And for years after that, when I would get off at that station, I would be like, I'm stepping on her puke. This is horrifying. And then my boyfriend at the time had like some home friends like from his hometown there. And one of them kissed Laura at midnight. She had puke mouth. She woke up the next morning and said, "Did I kiss a boy last night?" And I was like, "You did." Yeah. And she was like, "Disgusting." I'm like, "Yeah, it was pretty sick."
Oh my gosh.
And that's how you're ringing in that year.
yeah.
Pretty wild. But for the past few years, for the past few years, I've just had a low-key New Year's because I find there to be a lot of pressure to, like, have fun and be doing something and be dressed up, and that seems so... It, like, stresses me out. I don't want to, like, put that pressure on myself, and, like, you're already being, like, thrown all this stuff to like reflect on your year and like set all these goals, and it's just like a high pressure day or evening in today. Um, but we used to go to the Langlois, or I used to go with the Bonzies to the Langlois, and that was like there are like camp people, so it was like summertime people, and then we'd get to go on New Year's Eve and like
Nice.
see them, and it was like seeing the summer people in the winter was like really exciting for us. But that was always fun. But as I got older, I just like I'm just not a partier. I'm not someone who wants to be out drinking or like I get.
No.
And now that I know that it's because I get overstimulated
Right.
and I just can't handle it and I get like emotionally drained, then now I just kind of stay in. But yeah, I don't know. This New Year's I had a really good cry.
Yeah.
It's funny because you can say like I was like I don't care about New Year's, whatever. I'm going to stay in, just watch a movie. And I was watching something. I can't remember what I watched, but it hit a really sad point in the story that had nothing to do with my life, and it just made me cry, and then I went into a full sob of like, and then you're kind of you're like being told to reflect on your year by every source of media ever, and then like you, even if you're like, no, I don't want to reflect on anything this year because I had a pretty rough year, and then I just let it loose, and honestly I woke up feeling great.
Oh, that's good.
It's like I let all of this, I'm like, I left all that in 2024. And then I woke up feeling like a new woman.
Yeah, it's funny the artificial barriers of, not barriers, but the artificial. It's funny how like is a date on a calendar
Yeah.
that we think it ends something and there's a new beginning. You know what was crazy was the millennial year when they thought.
Oh my God.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
'Cause
totally.
we went to the hotel out by the mall with
Yes.
the two towers and stuff.
Oh my God,
And
that was so fun.
That was so scary though, because we really thought that maybe something horrible was going to happen in the world.
Little did we know that every week something horrible would happen in the
Yeah.
world in the future.
I know. But that was really kind of a crazy
I love
Crazy
those.
times.
The Sheridan, right? Isn't it a Sheridan, and it has these two
towers. Yeah.
like the circle towers?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry I'm not coming in hot with any sort of like New Year's lore, but I have, do you do any, it's funny because I just like spoke on how I don't like being like shoved in my face, having all these like more of like a capitalist way of being like, join this gym membership or like,
Oh yeah,
you know, it's
standard.
like, I hate that stuff, but I am a little bit witchy, and I do.
Yes, she is.
Like the tradition of, you know, manifestation, like writing out what your year,
which has worked for you.
Yeah, it has. And I sat down this year and made a vision board of my year and what it's going to look like, and I wrote out what I see myself doing this year, and I have a little journal I keep and with me at all times, and I can just look at I made it. I feel like this is cheating because I made it in Photoshop, but I just like didn't want to cut. I didn't have time to like search magazines for like specific images that I loved. And then I printed it out really tiny because my book is only 3 inches by 5 inches. So I have this tiny, tiny collage that I've taped into my journal, and I just can look at it every day and be like, okay. And this has worked for me in the past. So I think there is like, it sounds woo-woo, but I do feel like if you're like speaking positively about things or speaking things into existence, like it just, your brain is going to search for those things and try to make them happen. It's just kind of science more than anything. Like you're saying, I heard something really interesting recently where it's so easy to ruminate on the past because you lived it. And if you were to meditate and put yourself in the future, in these future situations that you want to be living, and you create memories of the future, you're so much more likely to achieve a more positive and fruitful future because you've already lived it in your meditations. So it's like, I just found that so interesting because so many people are so comfortable in living in their past, which is so funny to bring up on this podcast because it's the
Right.
whole premise.
It's funny.
But it is like, it's something I have been working on this year to like get like stop ruminating. I'll only ruminate on your past.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah.
Like you can get trapped in that.
Yeah,
You
I
can
mean,
get trapped in your trauma or trapped in thinking about good times and why they're not good times anymore.
yeah, and
Or-
it struggle like, yeah, I feel like I'm in a much better place at like even just speaking about things, even when I have a hard time with things like money. It's like you can't, if you're going to continuously talk about how bad your money situation is, like it's going to continue to stay bad because you're going to stay in that mindset. And I think you need to like welcome it and work hard and like talk about
Take
it in
action.
a positive way.
Make goals, take action
Yeah.
steps.
I think it's just like seeing, not in a toxic positivity way, because like things can still be crap,
Right.
you know? But anyways, that's been my journey this New Year's. In these past 2 weeks, I've been working on doing, I even wrote out all the things that I want to release this year that I've been holding on to, and I wrote a list of them, and then you fold it, you write it on a piece of paper, you fold it away from you because you're giving it away, and then you burn it, and then you release the ashes into the earth.
Did you do all those steps?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
You know what else I did? I think I'm having a mental health crisis while I'm saying all this. I also put my affirmations under a glass in the window on the full moon.
Oh.
And filled it with water. And then in the morning, I made my coffee with that water, the moon water with my affirmations, because it's moon, it's charged.
So you drank
It's
paper?
charged by the moon. No, I put the paper underneath the glass.
Oh, I thought
And then I poured it into my coffee maker and I made coffee. And so you're drinking your affirmations. It's supposed to, like, you know, whether or not I believe that stuff to be true, I think there is something about the practice of it and just reminding yourself that, like, you have to work towards making positive change and,
Right.
like, achieving your goals.
You have to be aware of that. And yeah, whatever helps you keep a positive mindset too.
Yeah. And I tend to live in a Delulu land, but
What's a Delulu land?
like
Delusional?
yeah, like I tend to dream big, and I know, like, I have people in my life who don't and are very practical, and I'm a big dreamer. I'm just like my dad. My dad was
Yep.
very much like that. And I'm like, no, you guys are all idiots. I'm going to make this happen. And I usually do. I will make it happen.
Yeah. You have a very positive spirit.
Sometimes. Sometimes I'm a real piece of shit. Don't even say that.
Beep.
What did I even just say, by the way? Could anyone recap that for me? Am I okay? Someone's going to send a wellness check for me.
Where is okay as anybody?
Yeah, I think it's
Because
true. I think
we talk about it. We talk about our mental health struggles
yeah, we do.
and try to be understanding and supportive.
I will say that I feel lucky because not everyone has this relationship with their parents. I think it's kind of rare to like have such open conversations with your parent, but it has immensely helped us to just say the thing we're
Did
thinking.
you say it has mentally helped us? That's what it sounded like.
Immensely, but yes, it has mentally helped us to like be able to do things like this.
Right.
Because we're honest with each other. Sometimes it gets heated still.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, because I'm right and she won't admit it. But yeah. Anyways, I don't know. I just went on a New Year's tangent. But I guess that stuff's been on my mind because of the New Year. And as
Yeah,
much
so
as
it's
I try
interesting.
to,
So the New Year,
I'm like, as much as I try to like shove, it's more of the like weight loss, the like, stuff. Because it's like I want to feel good in my body, but I'm not necessarily like feeling like I need to lose weight. And I'm like working on that mentality of like
Yeah, the whole body image weight thing we're going to talk about sometime on here.
Well, can we do a preview? Because recently you sent me a diary entry.
Sure, go for it.
This is a preview of a longer conversation because.
Which I sent this just innocently. I didn't mean to trigger anything at all.
Oh, you didn't, though. I don't think you did. I said it back to you because I thought it was an interesting. I thought it was like an interesting thing for you to learn because. Anyways, I'll just get into it. She basically sent a diary entry that said, should I just pull it up?
Yeah.
This is a diary entry, January 9th, 1980. I need to weigh 129 pounds to be happy, 124 pounds to be thrilled, and 119 to be gorgeous. At the time I wrote this, I weighed 134.75 pounds. I asked her how old she was, 27. Granted, I'm a few years older than that. I'm 34. Right. But I said, I need you to know that I currently weigh 30 pounds more than your current weight when you wrote that. I just think that is fascinating.
Yeah.
Because I certainly have struggled with my body image as I've gotten older because my body's changed a lot, but I can't imagine losing 30 more pounds to feel beautiful, and it's like so depressing to me.
Yeah, and it's depressing to me.
I think like for me, weight is just a number, and like weight is, what's on the scale looks so different on so many different bodies, right, and like the way it falls, and
there's a recognition of that now too. But it wasn't,
I think there's
in
more...
the 70s. This was the time of Twiggy, and being skinny was prized.
Yeah, which is just wild to me. And I will say though, like in my teenhood, that came back with a Tumblr era, and like anorexia was like a cool thing. And when I was in middle school into high school, it's like being like extremely underweight was sought after.
I don't even remember that from you being in high school.
Yeah, and it's mostly I don't know how or why. It's not, maybe because I had other things I was stressed about, and I will say I just naturally was a thin person. Like it's not that I was working out. It's just how my body was, and I think it wasn't something I thought about. Like I didn't experience what a lot of my friends experienced at that age, in which they felt like they needed to be skinnier, so they developed eating disorders or but it's like crazy because I was consuming all of that on Tumblr and MySpace or whatever, like seeing these like stick thin girls and like writing poetry about how they want to be even skinnier, and like that was just what it was. Like the whole thing, the big thing for us in early high school, was a thigh gap, where your thighs,
crazy, yeah.
It was like cool and pretty to not have your thighs touch, which is,
it's just insane,
so crazy. Yeah, it makes me so sad.
Yeah, all the time I spent writing about my weight loss. Like I can see now, now that I have read my diaries, that I had an eating disorder even. I didn't know I was so messed up. But I was fasting all the time. I was like, okay, I got to lose 5 pounds by Friday when I have a date with so-and-so.
Wild.
And
it makes me so sad for you.
I know.
Because you were so consumed by it. Like you just, like, think of all the things you could have been thinking about.
I know. I just read an entry today. Now, again, I was like 27. And I didn't go to work that day because I weighed in at, I think it was 139.
Oh my gosh.
And I was too depressed. I called in sick.
I mean, we can get into this further, and I think this is like a much longer conversation, but because I also have learned through your diaries that like you were spoken to in a way that made you feel like you had to lose weight or you had to.
Well, true.
And you never spoke to me like that.
No.
Well, I will say though, you never spoke to me like that, but you spoke to yourself like that in front of me a lot.
Yeah, I still do.
Like, wait, yeah, you do. And I always, but now I call you out and I'm like,
I know.
shut up.
You won't let me talk freely.
No. Yeah, I censor her. I just want her to like not. I want you to care about your body and how you're feeling, but I think weight is just like not. It shouldn't be. That should be the last thing.
Right.
It should be
But
like
it's
feeling healthy.
I bet you 90% of women, if not more,
of course,
especially women. I mean, we all. Like I think about friends when I meet old friends now or whatever. Honestly, it will. Like I've had this happen more than once where I'm going to see a friend I haven't seen, say, for decades, and they're going something like, "I hope you recognize me. I've put on a few pounds," or you know,
it's so sad.
It's like it is so sad.
I wish
But
like women could. Ugh, we can go deeper into how this is so rooted in capitalism and like men, and yeah, and how crazy. But anyways, wow, this was a pretty intense.
Yeah, this is dipped all over the place.
Yeah, we dipped, dap doodled. Into the new year we go.
She didn't know who Chubby Checkers was.
No, but did you like my joke, Chubby Chase?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I do feel as though it would behoove us to acknowledge that TikTok is getting banned, and this is pretty much why we're TikTok is kind of the reason we're able to do this, and like we've reached a lot of our followers through TikTok.
Right.
And I'm sad. I've been in denial because I don't want it to be true. So
I think that's true of
it's called anxious avoidant. I'm like, I don't want to acknowledge it. However, we will be. We have to make some TikToks tomorrow and push them out there and get people to follow us elsewhere.
We've come to the end.
We've come to the end. Don't say that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That'll happen. Someday you'll be on here all by yourself.
Happy New Year.
You'll be.
I did manifest that on my vision board for 2025.
I'll get that folder of all the stuff I wouldn't let you say while I was alive.
Oh my God. Honestly, though, it's going to be crazy. Also, I fear that this just reminded me that I've had a lot of things happen to me this year already, but I can't talk about them because they're so deeply disturbing. And like too recent, and maybe in 1 to 2 years, I can tell a story, but you guys don't even know. There needs to be like a paid after hours for my mother's diaries because the stories we could tell.
I know.
Oh my God.
Sorry, that's not fair to do to our listeners.
No, but I do like.
We're telling you everything we can.
Yeah, this one was just too cuckoo bananas too. I'm still processing. Speaking of trauma. However, I just wanted to say, if you came here from TikTok, thank you. We love you. And I've been a pretty poor social media manager, to be honest, this past year. Don't agree with that. But I feel I'm ready to we just want to keep doing this.
Yeah, we're having fun.
We're going to figure out, like, you can follow us on Instagram. I should be posting more on Facebook.
Right. Maybe I should be taking that on.
Even though I hate Mark Zuckerberg. But I hate that guy so much. And Meta sucks. But anyways, I did download Red Note, which is where a lot of TikTok users are going, which is a Chinese app, which I find to be pretty amazing. That app has rose to #1, which has now, it's like the TikTok ban is doing the opposite of what they wanted to do, and I think that is amazing. And anyways, if I can figure out how to create an account on Red Note, and change it to English so I can read the buttons, I will post some stuff over there. But anyways, thank you. Sorry
you.
we haven't done a podcast in like a month, but
We're doing the
we're
best
doing
we
it.
can.
I actually drove here for the day and I'm going to come back this weekend. So we just needed to get one out. I wanted to do it. So
This
thank
is a
you.
long goodbye.
I'm really bad at goodbyes. I could keep talking. Okay. Thank you, Dead Gowns, for our song. GB, I love you. She actually just put out 2 new songs yesterday, and her album releases on Valentine's Day this year.
Awesome.
And I'm going to have a couple racks of vintage clothing at her album release party on Valentine's Day at Oxbow Brewing in Portland. And then I also will be at Lost and Found Market November 6th.
February 2nd.
What is wrong? February 2nd. And I am working on a custom wood giant vintage heart background that I am sawing myself and sanding and staining, and I'm working on it right now and hopefully have it done within this week so I can start posting some content of it to get people hyped.
Sounds great, honey.
Yeah. So,
All right.
All right.
I have to go to bed now.
Yeah. Bye.